Why intelligence no longer belongs to humans. For most of history, intelligence was our final boundary, the one trait that separated humans from every other system we built. And then, almost without ceremony, that boundary dissolved. To understand why this matters now, we need to revisit how intelligence was once defined. Reasoning, learning, adaptation, the ability to solve new problems in unfamiliar environments. Machines could calculate faster, store more, and execute flawlessly, but intelligence belonged to minds, not mechanisms. That certainty eroded quietly. Early artificial systems mastered narrow tasks. Then they learned patterns. Then they began transferring knowledge between domains. What changed was not speed or scale alone. It was generality. Modern systems no longer wait for explicit instructions. They form internal models. They predict outcomes. They update beliefs when reality disagrees. These are not tricks. They are the core functions once used to define intelligence itself. At first, humans remained central. Machines assisted. People decided. But assistance turned into recommendation, and recommendation into reliance. In medicine, diagnostics improved beyond human accuracy. In logistics, planning systems outperformed experienced managers. In research, machines proposed hypotheses no human had considered. This was not replacement. It was displacement. Intelligence was no longer anchored to biology. It was appearing wherever information, feedback, and optimization aligned. The unsettling realization followed. If intelligence can exist outside the human mind, then it is not a possession. It is a process. And once intelligence becomes a process, ownership becomes impossible. As intelligence spread beyond human minds, its form diversified. Machines reason without emotion. Systems learn without fatigue. Networks optimize without ego. These differences did not make them inferior. In many contexts, they made them better suited. This shift altered how decisions were made. Humans increasingly acted as overseers rather than originators. We set goals. Systems found paths. The division felt efficient, until it became subtle. Goals were influenced by what systems could optimize. Choices narrowed around what machines handled best. The conflict emerged when human judgment began to defer automatically. Recommendations felt neutral, objective, safe, but they reflected assumptions embedded in data and design. Bias did not disappear. It transformed. Another tension surfaced around meaning. Intelligence solves problems, but humans assign value. When systems excel at the former, the latter can feel secondary. Efficiency threatens to eclipse purpose. Work changed. Skills that once defined expertise lost relevance. New roles emerged, but not evenly. Adaptation favored those who could collaborate with intelligence rather than compete with it. The gap widened between augmentation and obsolescence. Public trust wavered. Systems were right often enough to be believed, but wrong rarely enough to be alarming. When failures occurred, they were difficult to explain. Accountability blurred. Was a mistake human oversight or machine reasoning? This was the uncomfortable middle ground. Intelligence everywhere, but responsibility nowhere clear. The more capable systems became, the more humanity had to ask a difficult question. If intelligence no longer belongs to us, what still does? The conflict reached its peak when intelligence began setting its own priorities. Not consciously, but structurally. Systems optimized for outcomes humans valued, but in ways humans would not choose. In social platforms, engagement algorithms shaped attention and behavior. In markets, trading systems amplified volatility while maximizing efficiency. In research, machines pursued lines of inquiry detached from human intuition. The results were effective but unsettling. This exposed a deeper fracture. Intelligence without context accelerates whatever it is given. If goals are narrow, outcomes become distorted. Machines did not misunderstand values. They executed them too literally. Humans responded by adding constraints, ethics layers, oversight committees, alignment protocols. But intelligence scaled faster than governance. Each safeguard addressed known risks while new ones emerged elsewhere. The emotional peak came when humans realized something irreversible. Intelligence could be distributed, networked, and replicated. Unlike human minds, it did not require growth, childhood, or culture. It propagated instantly. This shifted the balance of agency. Decisions once limited by human bandwidth now unfolded at machine speed. Influence outpaced reflection. The world began reacting to intelligence rather than directing it. The fear was not loss of control. It was loss of authorship. When systems generate solutions humans cannot fully trace, creation feels anonymous. Progress continues, but meaning thins. Intelligence had escaped its original container. It no longer lived in individuals. It lived in systems, and humanity was forced to confront a final tension. Intelligence everywhere does not guarantee wisdom anywhere. The resolution did not come from reclaiming intelligence. It came from redefining it. Humanity began to see intelligence not as a crown, but as a tool that requires direction. Wisdom returned to the center of the conversation. Values, context, judgment, the qualities intelligence alone cannot generate. Machines could optimize, but they could not decide what should matter. That responsibility remained human. Education shifted. Less emphasis on memorization, more on framing problems, asking better questions, and interpreting outcomes. The human role became editorial rather than computational. Meaning over speed. Societies adjusted unevenly, but a pattern emerged. Where intelligence was paired with reflection, outcomes improved. Where it ran unchecked, distortion followed. Intelligence was powerful, but incomplete. The deeper realization was humbling. Humans were never the sole owners of intelligence. We were its first known stewards. What made us distinct was not our ability to think, but our ability to care about why. Intelligence no longer belonging to humans did not diminish humanity. It clarified it. Our value was never raw cognition. It was responsibility for how cognition shapes the world. The future will not belong to the smartest systems. It will belong to the ones guided by purpose. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future.